Let's talk about data sharing in public and private organizations. Starting out with examples of public-private data sharing. So I'm going to walk through some examples, some of which we'll hear more about throughout this whole MOOC. But imagine that you could have an airport that's connected with using data sharing with public transit data, with software services, with airline data, and so forth. So for example, imagine that if the airport had access to public transit, they could actually make better plans for queuing at security. So it's actually a fairly interesting application. If you had access to passenger data from airlines, you could actually set up the gates near each other where you knew a lot of people had to transfer, instead of having them walk all the way across the airport, thus delaying the flight perhaps. So there's lots of ways that airports, public transit authorities, and so forth could actually use data sharing to help them. Another example could be connected cars. Your car is giving off a lot of data as you drive it. And that's everything from the location data of your car to how rough the road is while you're driving over it. You have like the shock absorbers moving a lot. So this could allow the car itself to sell services, or the owner of the data from the car to sell services to other parties. For example, I mentioned the shock absorbers. Well, what if you could sell the data on a very rough patch? So you wouldn't need people to crowdsource, hey, there's a pothole on this road here. Rather, you'd automatically get the information, hey, all these cars went by and there was a big shock in the road. There must be a big hole in the road. Let's go fix it preemptively. It could also be that this data could be interesting to insurance companies, and that could be from the point of view of selling services or giving discounts to people who are very good drivers, who don't brake very hard all the time, who aren't passing and breaking the speed limit, and so forth. Another interesting application is food traceability. So imagine that you wanted to track your food. Now, for example, this could be very interesting from the provenance point of view. Organic farm, for example. And you want to make sure that when you buy a product in a supermarket, it says it's organic, that it actually came from an organic farm. Now to do that, you need to trace and track the food along its whole supply chain. So you can imagine that there could be a lot of incentives here for food companies to pay for data collection at the source and as the food is moving through the system. So there are many, many applications coming out these days that connect big food companies with farmers and with distributors and so forth. Another one could be in the health sector. So data sharing in the health sector, which is very tricky because of the personalized nature of the health data. So you'd have to make sure that it's anonymized in a very, very good way. But these could contribute positively to medical research in a for-profit domain and non-profit domain. For example, it has led to tremendous progress in the field of genomic research, and then that will filter down into the medicine area eventually.